Hello everyone, this is John Marshall with another video critique. This is Northmont. Northmont has been an awesome school. There's a couple of schools that I've critiqued just about every single one of their performances. They're really eager to know how to improve, and I just think that's fantastic. So what we have here is Unarmed Exhibition. So let me move my microphone here just a bit. All right, so I get my hand under here. You probably think that I don't know, when you watch TV, it looks like the studios are so huge, but then when you actually see a picture that's taken off to the side, or if you ever go to a studio, you'll see it's a teeny tiny little place. Well, my office here is a teeny tiny little place, but it works. It's perfect. I have my brand new lights up on my desk. They're tiny LCD lights, really pretty cool. All right, enough, DrillMaster, get on with it. All right, here we go, and I am going to look here. Yep, I've got it large, so let's see here. What do I see? I see a difference. All right, see, we have windows here. Windows means you have space in between the elbow and the torso. And windows here, that's good, that's fine, no big deal. But then no windows. Now, let's be honest here. There are thicker torsos and then there are skinnier torsos. And that doesn't necessarily have to do anything with a person's weight, although it can. It could be the build of the person. You know, some people are built short and stocky, some are long and skinny, and all kinds of variations in between. So, but I just want to now look, this cadet right here, you can tell that she's standing up straight and her head is bent down. That is the proper position. That's a good strong, let me put it this way, it's a good strong position. However, this cadet here is slightly bent over like this, kind of maybe rolling the shoulders forward, but possibly bent over a little bit at the waist and then curving the back. So that doesn't communicate a strong presence, and that's exactly what you want to do. So then here, no windows, and like I said, windows are not, it almost doesn't matter as long as the technique is the same. So if everybody's at parade rest with their let's say their hands are, it's a standard parade rest that you're doing for this exhibition start off, and if they're I'm just trying to look, if all the hands are in the small of the back, fine. If all the hands are like the Air Force, the arms are extended and the hands are resting over your backside, then fine. Doesn't matter. Uniformity of technique is what I'm getting, trying to get across. All right, here we go. It's about time I pressed play. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so timing issue there. Yeah, big timing issue. And it was almost a ripple, which actually was kind of cool. All right, you definitely want that timing there. So, dress right dress. There's got to be a better command than that. If you're going to say dress right dress, then now there's an expectation of regular dress right dress. Okay, I've got it. Yeah, everything's fine. But this is different, and it was a little bit slow here. So you heard a woo from the audience, which I get that. It's looked kind of cool, but boy, had you increased that tempo there to bang 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 and just pop it right up there, really nice and sharp instead of the up. It still communicates with the audience, but it could have been bang, 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 up, and just really solid there. And I see looking. Okay, so our this is, well, I'm just going to have to watch. So you have a commander here, and then you have maybe an extra. I'm not trying to single you out, but you look extra to the block there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe there's a plan for you. Now, see, there's dress right, dress ready front. These are not, your movements are creative. The commands are not creative. So think of something creative to say, and it doesn't actually even have to be a verbal command, and it doesn't have to be a double stomp either. But I'm just saying there are ways to communicate commands to the team that don't include or don't have to be a verbal command. Timing issues, big timing issues here. So as the team pulled up, there were also alignment issues. As the team came in for this, I was really anticipating a speed up, an increase to build that audience tension there. You kept it the same tempo, which, that's your choice, definitely. But if you increase the tempo, then you're going to build that tension, that anticipation in your audience, and they're going to go, oh man, what's next? What's coming next? Oh, this is going to be awesome. And not that they're not saying it now, but there is that variation that you can put in there that doesn't. You could look at it this way. So far, the entrance is repetitive. To eliminate the repetitiveness, increase the tempo. Then it's not repetitive. Then it's the same thing. Yes, you're doing the same thing again and again, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but it's increasing in tempo, so it's not exactly the same. And that can help you a great deal in exhibition drill. So I'm going to go back just a bit. So you can see the timing issues here. I tell you what, I'm going to pause. I forgot to increase the size of my cursor, so I'll do that right now. Okay, there we go. So cadet over here, and you don't have to have the squad leaders leading all the time. This is exhibition drill, so it doesn't matter at all. So this young lady over here, back corner, was well behind the rest of the team. And I'm not rewinding just to, but see, these two right here actually had to back up a bit. So that's what I was wondering. Is it going to be a facing movement? And yes, it was. And boy, you can turn many different ways and create such a variation that could really communicate well. But here, notice the movement phasing here. Remember, phasing is doing the same thing, but not necessarily at the exact same time. And there's also some variation here. So, commander, you have your arm bent up. Arm is bent. Is not bent, points straight out. Straight out is a much more powerful position. Bent up, it doesn't necessarily, it's not as exact. So here, there's barely, it looks like this cadet is behind in technique here. So after that turn, then you could have created here's an idea for you. You increase the tempo, and then you stop, and then you turn really slowly to face the new direction. And you can execute a regular facing movement, but do it really slowly. And once you finish the first count of the turn in that slow time, then you could even bend forward, and then for the second count, you bring your torso to vertical and slam that foot in, and then take off directly for the judge, almost running even, instead of now you have repetitiveness. Okay, so the first section, the first segment coming in, the entrance coming over for that first part of the L shape that you're making, you could say, all right, that's one segment, but now you're repeating the segment again, and so now you have more of a repetition. So this can be an effectiveness killer. So it wasn't exactly the same. So I spoke too soon. But this, you're actually dragging on here. Bang, 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 slap, slap, slap. And it could go much, much quicker, much faster. And even you could ripple here, front to back, left to right, right to left, inside out, alternate, 2 and 4, 1 and 3, and have, and I'll back this up in just a sec to catch the effectiveness of this movement. But you could have different things going on at the same time, and it doesn't come across necessarily as visually confusing. It's more of a heightened awareness that's required from your audience. So you're looking at 1 and 3, and then 2 and then 4, and you're anticipating what's going on here. This is great. So the variation here, this is going to break up the monotony. You could even have 1 and 3 start off first, and then 2 and 4 come, doing the same thing at different times. So you have a stomp, 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 slap, 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 with the 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4. All kinds of different ways to vary this entrance here, and build up the audience's expectation, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to grab your audience by the eyeballs, and then you want to hold them there and tell them by your performance, if you blink, you're going to miss something. So they're going to be there the entire time going, oh man, I can't blink. I don't want to miss anything. And so far, not that I'm not going to this is, you got to remember, this is not personal. So far, you've told the audience, here's what we've done, and we're okay with it. Not, this is so awesome, this is fantastic. It's more of, this the consistent tempo, and so you build with what you know, and that's great. That's okay. Now you're going to know more. Great. Really nice. I was telling the armed team, remember that knees are pointing forward. That's good. But both knees need to have I can't do it with my fingers. Both knees need to have a 45-degree angle so that you have a much more powerful position there. And you have everybody leaning forward. They're off of their left heel, which is really good. You can have the step forward and the keeping the body weight on the rear foot, and just the toe hitting forward, or the whole foot, both feet planted that way. Or you can lean forward with your weight over the lead foot, and I think that works better. Honestly, I think this position looks quite good. And you have the variation of kneeling, and then standing and saluting. I think that It looks like there's two cadets in the very back. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's just I can't tell. What I don't know. Anyway, so I would take the cadets in the very back and stagger them somehow. I think that would have been much more effective for you. Instead of having straight lines. That's why you layer you visually layer a team. The front is kneeling, and then so that the audience can see those layers, and then you have the rear standing. So if you're going to have people standing behind each other like this, you can't see. You can't see this hand. You can't see what they're doing. So that means that okay, kneeling and standing, that's great. That works well, but then standing again, it doesn't work well. So that's why you then stagger and have cadets in different places.
Midshipmen, these thunderbolts from Northmont High School in Clayton, Ohio, are reporting for the Unarmed exhibition drill sequence. We are respectfully requesting permission to utilize your drill deck, midshipmen.
Very well. Permission granted.
Aye, aye, midshipmen.
And still the same tempo here. So you're staying in the block formation, which so far that's okay. And oh, you take off. Okay, good. Right into a cordon. Nice. All right. Great. Like that pause technique. Oh, you didn't use the cordon. Oh, that was a prime opportunity to use the cordon. Now, having said that, you weren't centered. So when you use a cordon, you really should be centered on your audience, centered on your head judge. That's the most effective position to do that. So you move into a cordon, which is, you had the two center outer move in, and you have these two long lines of people facing each other with the commander at the end. Cordon. You can do it. That's awesome. And, usually you have rifles going back and forth, rifles spinning. Okay, you're unarmed, but there's plenty to do here. Plenty. You just need to make sure that you get that cordon centered so that you can use it. And I really think you should use that opportunity. So still in block formation. And again, I speak too soon. That's good, though. That's good. Variation in tempo here. That's good. Okay. Oh, now there, with those three stomps, with the three heel slams there, I would have slowed that down much more. And you could have turned, stomp, 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 and oh, that would have been just outstanding there. Okay, that's because I thought of it. I think it's outstanding, but honestly, I think that would have been just fantastic for you. Here, you're still working at the same tempo. So there is a certain level that the audience is already used to, And now, of course, they're going to yell, and you're doing a fine job, but you want to give your audience something new throughout your performance. So why did you look, Commander? Why did you look anywhere? All right, a long diagonal line, variation of the long line that is usually everybody facing forward, and horizontal then to the audience, or you could say perpendicular to the audience. This is really well thought out ripple line here. The timing was very good. Now, see, I here I see what you're doing, and I appreciate it. I really do. You aren't just marching. You are layering your effects here. You're layering movement over the marching. And not only are you layering movement over marching, but you are creating a beat out of that. So that's, you know, that's layered responsibilities throughout, and I appreciate it. However, there is more to military drill than just what you've done so far, and you are relying on the same type of beat sequence. Now, it might not be the exact same beat all throughout, but you are relying on a similar beat sequence while you're moving. So, got to ask yourself, why do you move from one formation to another? Why did you move to that large formation from your previous formation into this? And why did you? And I know it's typical across the country to have the commander start off the sequence with what using the maybe a smaller version of the sequence to introduce that next sequence that the whole team is going to perform. So why have, there we go. So why have the team in this formation? Is it effective? Does it communicate what you want to have the audience see? So why have the commander in the middle with an odd formation? Odd formations are fine, but you have to ask yourself, is it benefiting the performance? Does where everybody is standing, does this benefit the performance? Is this a positive? Is this something that is going to logically flow in the sequence? You were back here in the long angled line, we'll call it, and then you moved into this. So is this a logical flow of the performance? Does this make sense to move from the long angled line into this and then into this? Does it make sense? You need to look at this and see what give a reason why you are here. Give a reason why you are in this formation, in that formation. All right, so, and also, why do you stop? Why do you stop? and then have your momentum stop as well. You create a certain amount of momentum, and I have to tell you, so far, you're using beat sequences over and over and over again, and you're also you're using stop start, which is you get to a certain point, and now and this is very typical for unarmed junior ROTC. Now your commander does a short sequence, and then everybody joins in, and then you move to another formation. Your commander does a short sequence, and then everybody joins in. So at least you're moving. At least the team is moving and not static, and that's a good thing. That's positive. However, it's a statement. I forget the exact term. Statement response. That's not. It's response, but I forget call and response. I think it's call and response. This is what you're doing here. So, and that can be okay. But how does this formation right here differ from this formation? You're doing, now it's probably not the exact same beat sequence, but you have arm movement and foot stomping in a certain sequence, and you're creating a beat out of that. How does this differ? Too far from this? Why did you go from a large, almost block formation to this? And actually, I really cannot tell what this is. It looks like it might be a large plus sign, maybe, but I honestly cannot tell what it is, because of the quote unquote extra cadet here. So I don't know exactly, but so far it's not communicating a logical sequence here. Okay, let's go ahead and play. All right, I'm looking at arms. So arm is almost at the same level as the shoulder. The elbow is right here. Elbow's way below. Head is looking down considerably, hardly at all. Step forward is minimal, and yet this looks to be a little bit bigger. This is actually a bit bigger. So there's a variation of technique here. And then you don't want that. Now, here's nice variation here. This is good. This communicates well. This is more of a militaristic type of, militaristic is probably not the exact word, but there's military flavor here. When you unarmed has a limited range, whereas armed teams have a bigger range because you have that piece of equipment with you, that rifle, and sometimes a sword or saber. So unarmed is it can be unique. Now look at the arms out here, wide and not so wide. But anyway, so you're moving by, let's say, squad here. You're moving by the squads, and that is a military flavor, and that's what you want here. You want that in the performance. Now, Obviously, you don't have to have all of your movements by squad all of the time. I'm not talking about that. Now, there was a turn. There was a good turn. That was a facing movement, but it was different. It was an exhibitionized type of facing movement. That was good. But this, having the team reform like this, you're just reaching back into regulation drill to have the team come back to platoon formation. And there's all kinds of different things that you could have done there. Now, I'll put a link. I'm going to pause. I'll put a link down below. I got to write a note. I'll write myself a note. You need to go to my website and look for the article, How to Write Drill. And you can see the boxes of 3 method there. The boxes of 3 method is a perfect place, in my view, a perfect place to start when you're writing drill, because you can break this down by squad, you can break it down by rank, you can break it down by group. It really works very well. And to be able to, you can use, oh, I see. There's the lone cadet right there. Interesting. All right, you can see that you've already used just a tiny bit of, say, like a delta move. There's blackout that you could use that would really be great, and you could integrate a beat sequence into that move. So you could still have the beat sequence, which is a more modern technique, and keep the military flavor by using a military type move. So let me write that note down, and I'll have that link for you below. All right, note made. So look at, now you had a flank in there, you had a rear march in there, which this is regulation drill, and you could have done something. Now look where some of the hands are. Some of the hands were in front, very close together on the front of the thigh. Some hands were, some of the hands were at the, not necessarily the side, but the angled outward, I guess you could say. So why go into this movement? Why march to this movement? Why just standard march to this movement and then start performing? I know why. I'm asking you. Okay, so you have a wedge here, which is great. Wedges are very powerful. But then you have this line of 4 cadets, and she is blocking every single one of them. Now, it's not her fault. You're not supposed to eliminate her, but you should have staggered these cadets out here. Definitely should have. You could have done some really unique work. You have all this space over here, you have all this space over here, and you're not using it. You're missing. Okay. So even and for this report out, since you're missing a cadet, she could have filled in right there. No problem. Would have had to learn something new for this performance. But, maybe the cadet had to drop out last minute the night before or something. So that's almost impossible. But but it can be done. So having this line of cadets here, it isn't as effective. It works. Obviously, you're doing it, but it's not as effective as using the space provided, and you have tons of space here.
The Thunderbolts of Northmont High School in Clayton, Ohio, has completed unarmed exhibition drill sequence. We are respectfully requesting permission.
Somebody's daughter there, maybe.
Very well. Permission granted.
Proud parent, probably, recording this. Oh, lost your balance. Okay.
Very well. Permission granted.
So you can push back and stand up, or you can come forward and stand up. You chose standing back up, going back, and which is fine. There's either way you want to do it. That's okay. But you can. There's a reason why you can do either one, and you have the your wedges here. You could have both wedges, or both sides of the wedge. One goes backward, one goes forward. So then you can just an idea. So thinking outside of the confines of regulation drill. Now I appreciate that there weren't any commands for that. That was great. However, that's still just a regulation drill type of. Right here, you're not performing. You're just reforming the platoon. And this is great. You counted and you worked that out. That is very good. But you had a slight variation for that flank, but still you've performed, or you're exiting as a platoon. And you're much more than a platoon. You are an exhibition drill team. So an exhibition drill team can be 2 people. It can be 25 people. It doesn't matter. So don't think of yourself as a platoon of Navy NJROTC cadets who are performing exhibition drill. Think of yourselves as an exhibition drill team made up of Navy NJROTC cadets. So you have now, hopefully that spurs you into thinking a little bit differently about your performance and about creating drill. Creating drill can be a really difficult task. So I'll just write a 7 here. This goes for soloists and it goes for teams as well. There are 7 points or 7 parts of an exhibition performance that I have sliced up. Now you can slice it up even more if you'd like to, but breaking it down into the 7 parts really helps you concentrate on just the opening statement, just the march up to the judge, just the report in sequence, just the movement away from, just the body, just, you take it one chunk at a time, and you can make it as big or as small as you want it. And then instead of taking and looking for, wow, 8.5 minutes, man, how am I going to fill 8.5 minutes with marching and drill and movement and arms and commands? And don't even have to think of that. All you have to think of is, well, let's see. What are we going to do to grab the audience's attention? What's our opening statement going to be? And then, okay, we've got that. Yep. All right, let's work on, well, how are we going to move from this point to centered on the head judge? How are we going to do that? And how are we going to end up? Are we going to do a wedge? Are we going to do a double wedge? Are we going to do a reverse wedge? Are we going to have uh, 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 a right side heavy, um, um, what am I thinking? Image. You have an image where there's a line of cadets here, and then a group of cadets maybe in a box, a block formation here. And I mean, this is stuff that is really odd and strange that you might be thinking of. Who reports in like this? Exactly. Who does that? Well, you could. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Northmont could. That means anybody who's watching this could. You can do things and that are outside the box, and being able to do something outside of the box that nobody else has ever done, nobody else does right now. That's incredible. And that leaves an indelible mark in the judge's mind. And that's what you want to do. You want to leave a positive, indelible mark in the judge's mind. There's plenty of teams that leave the negative. Plenty. Spoken like a judge of quite a few years. All right. So I know all I do is pick. But you did a fine job, honestly, throughout. There were moments where it really could have been better. It really could have been. But you have some great ideas there. There are germs of ideas that you can explore and expand there. And I honestly think you need to work on creating a better military flavor in several areas. And then also, you're performing in, so you need to perform out. And that means not just necessarily forming up in your block, going back, marching away from your audience, flank, and then depart. Not necessarily like that. Think of something different. Think of things that maybe nobody else has thought of. Try that. All right, and hit the links below that I will make sure that I put in there. Okay. I hope my comments have been helpful. Thank you.